Okay. For all of those that catch it on the replay, I have to run out to the kitchen. I have to keep an eye on my stove very quickly. I have to go. I will be right back. I have to go check. I was making bread. I'm making bread, and the loaf is just about ready to go in the oven. And I have to go check on it really quickly. So just hang on a second, and I'll be right back. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things, and I'll do an energy check-in with the cards. And then, like I said, we're going to talk about some different things. And give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, it's close. I'll have to leave again shortly. I'm also making a tea. So I'm making a tea for this evening. But like I said, I had hoped everything would get ready and I could pop the bread in the oven before I started, but it didn't quite work out that way. So I will be doing a collective check-in with the cards. I have a few different decks here. And then, like I said, we're going to talk about some interesting things. So if you have any ideas about some stuff that you want to talk about, put it in the chat and we'll see. We'll see where we go. Hi, Anderson. How are you, love? So yeah, I'm just waiting for it. Just waiting for my bread, my oven to tell me it's ready, and then I'll deal that. I'm in Alberta, Canada. Where are you from? Hello, hello. I had to make sure. I have multiple channels. Multiple channels that I have multiple channels anyway, and I just had to pause because I was like, oh my god, am I on the wrong channel? I thought maybe I was on the hugs channel for a second there. Hello, Carol, how are you? Yeah, I think I've got enough on the floor there. I am making bread and I did not plan my time correctly, so I'm going to pop in and out a little bit. I'm going to go and check the oven right now and see if it's warm enough that I can put it in, and then I'll set the timer, and then I should be good for a bit. So just give me a second and pick up these cards off the floor and go check my bread. Right, Hey guys, I'm coming. This my tea's almost here. Tea's almost. Okay. All right. We've got bread in the oven. We've got bread in the oven and I have tea. So you should be pretty good for interruptions for a bit. How are you doing? Okay, let's see what we got with the cards that fell out earlier. No, in the inverted. Wow. Wow. They're all upright, guys. How interesting. So we have the Six of Air. Now, remember, when I do these, I'm talking collective energy. So let's talk about how this is interpreted across the collective. So that's what we're going to do with this. So this is moving on, healing, new perspectives, and a spiritual journey. So you can see the actual frequency of the earth is rising. You can see that for many people, they are on an awakening journey, and their awareness of what is going on in the world or the truth of things is growing. So there's definitely, this is happening, and we're going to heal, right? We are definitely going to heal. We have the Three of Fire. So the Three of Fire, when it's in the upright position, it's talking about progress, right? And this can be representative of that Aries energy. There's expansion, there's creative momentum, there is, trust in the journey now. I think that, maybe more of us are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Hi, Liz. How are you? I'm so happy you could make it back. And hello, Carol Love. And hi, say hello. Hi, Mandy. Take a sip of my water. So we have this fire energy that's happening, right? And we do have, I'm fantastic. I'm like this fantastic because there's sun. As soon as there's sun, I'm like a different person. No, I had a wonderful day. I saw 3 deer. There were 3 deer in my yard for quite a while this morning, grazing on the grass. Then I saw in one moment a duck took off out of the pond, startled the smallest deer, like it was a younger one, startled it. And it was just super cute because, it does the whole little. So they were cute to watch for a while. Then I saw 2 bald eagles fly over. I saw 3 hawks, or I saw a hawk 3 times, one or the other. It was just so full of wildlife today. It was quite beautiful. And it was so nice and warm compared to what we had. Yeah, it was very, very active. Very active. I was quite impressed. Hello. How are you guys? Okay, let's keep checking in. We got the Three of Fire, right? We've got all of that. So the Three of Fire calls you to just keep going, to trust in the pathway that's ahead, and to embrace that momentum that's carrying you. And I think a lot of us, like, we were moving through from equinox, right? When equinox hit, I think that a lot of us thought, oh, we're going to have this energy to go, right? It's going to be go time because it's spring. But there was a kind of a delay this spring where it seemed to take a little bit longer for the momentum to get going. And if you were watching the lives on Sunday night, you'll notice that we didn't even get into Aries. Aries season was like April 18th, right? We had the new moon on the 17th in Pisces, late stage Pisces. And then we had the very next day, we went into Aries season. So it's only been since the 18th of April that we have had the energy of momentum, that fire that's pushing us forward. So we're at what? We're 12 days in. We're not even a full 2 weeks into that Aries season. So this energy is going to continue to propel us forward, and the momentum is going to pick up. So we'll have Aries season for most of May. Right. I think it's around the 20th or something like that. Let me see. I always have my sheet that has all the dates and times on it. Let's see. Where is the sun going into? May 14th, it goes into Taurus. So we still have a couple of weeks before we're going to see the moon go into Taurus. and the sun go into Taurus, so before it becomes Taurus season. And that means that like we've got the action energy before Taurus comes into the situation and says, okay, what are we building here? That is, we're going to ground this, we're going to make it stable. Like this is where we really start to build a solid foundation and ground whatever we put into place from Aries season. So we still got a couple more weeks of that forward momentum. And that's what this fire energy of the Three of Fire is talking about. All right, we have two earth cards that came out back to back, the 6 and the 7. So the 6 of earth is talking about generosity. And when we are in that space where we are giving freely, where we're not expecting anything in return, then that's when the universe starts to give to you in unexpected ways, right? And we are meant to be in service of the collective in some way, like spiritually at 11:11 on the time there. That's what we're meant to be. And Carol's like, I don't want to sit on that one. I want to go over on this one now, because this one, she seems to be looking at it a little bit more. Did I read it right? I want you to look at me too. Yeah, one day I'll get the phone set up and like I'll get everything set up so that I'm looking at everything evenly. Maybe one day TikTok will get on the same page as everybody else and let you run them through StreamYard. Okay, so the 6 of earth is about charity. It's about generosity. It's about financial balance and unexpected gifts. It's about support received or given. So the 6 of, must be birds out there, but the six of earth is a real even exchange. It's a give and take, right? There's a even exchange that's happening there, and that's what it's talking about. So it's reminding you that prosperity is a flow, okay? That it's not a possession. So we're not meant to get rich by holding on to everything at 1, 2, 3, 4 on the time there, right? We're meant to share, right? We're meant to actually live in a way in which we look at society and we determine the health of the society based upon the lowest member. So if in your society, what is determined to be the lowest member is somebody who can't afford to house themselves, can't afford to eat, can't afford to, the necessities of life, then if it was a corporation, your corporation would suck, right? And unfortunately, we seem to be in the whole corporation of the world sucks. So anyway, we need to be in that flow and understand that we are meant to be helping each other, because what I do for me, it actually affects you, and it does transfer back. So you are the role of the giver or the receiver in this situation, and we have to trust that balance will be received. Thank you. Did he? I didn't hear anything about that. I don't watch the news. I'm sorry. So trust that balance is going to be restored in whatever situation it is, that whenever you're being generous without an expectation of return, that's when the return comes. But that's the challenge, is putting yourself in a position where you don't actually anticipate that you're going to receive something when you give it, right? That there is actually no strings attached. All right, then we have the 7 of earth. So the 7 of earth is the patience and growth card, and it's also an opportunity to reflect. So this is collective energy, right? And collective, we need to be patient right now. There is growth that is happening. We are seeing, we have to just be patient and steady, right? Steady wins the race. And this is an opportunity for us to reflect on the way that everything is, all of the structures in society, all of those foundations. If it's not built on a solid foundation, then it's something that needs to dissolve. It needs to be replaced by something that's much more for society, much more humane, much more divine, much more, you know, all of that stuff. So the 7 is a reminder that success is not always immediate, that it takes time, it takes dedication, you have to that careful attention to what you're doing, right? Like you have to get up every day. You have to be, you know, taking action on your dreams. There has to be a devotion to the path, right? And the devotion to the path can be just the devotion of being you at your core, because that's what the path is. Believe it or not, that's what the path is. You might think that it's some big mystery, it's some big surprise, it's something else. But at the end of the day, what it really is just being true to you and who are you. So what lights you up are the things that you're meant to do. When you're being true to yourself and you're saying no to things that aren't aligned with you, when you're saying yes to things that light you up, when you are grounded and present in your body and your nervous system is regulated, that's when you are making decisions that are in alignment with you. That's you walking the path. That's it. There you are. You found it. And people will be like, well, what's my mission? Or what's my purpose? Your purpose finds you when you're doing the things that you love, right? What could you do without getting paid for it? That's one way to look at. If you weren't getting paid for it, but you do it every day, then that's something that's probably linked to your purpose. People will be like, oh man, the things that I could do, but they'll be really funny things. All right. The last card that I pulled from that particular, the Etherian Tarot, is the Wheel. And the Wheel is speaking about the cycles of destiny. And when the wheel is reversed, that's when we're looking at fate. We're looking at karma and all of those things. But when the wheel is in the upright position, that's when we are looking at destiny and we're seeing change, and there's divine timing, and you know, there's the knowledge that we're going through these cycles of life. And we are, whether we're looking at a Kali Yuga period, whether we're looking at 2,000 years of, you know, the zodiac, like since the zodiac return, whatever it is. I just thank you so much, sweetheart. Whatever it is within those, like those are the things that we're seeing, the spirals, the cycles of life. And even in your own personal life, you see cycles, right? We look at the zodiac transitions through, right? It goes through, when we look at everything, there's cycles of everything. And it's interesting because sometimes, like, you think how the information gets distorted. I remember when I was in Ontario one year and I saw this news article and it was like, oh my gosh, all these white fish are dead along the shores of Lake Ontario. And it's like, that's a cyclical thing. It happens every so often, and it's not abnormal at all. It's just every so many years, there is an over abundance of the whitefish, and so a lot of them die because there's not the proper nutrients to support them. And then they land on the shores and they feed the birds, and it's just the cycle of life, right? But anyway, it's just interesting. Like, there's just cycles, and it's just about getting used to or understanding the cycles. And when you're seeing a pattern, are you responding to the pattern the same way? Because if you're doing things the same way, then there's not going to be a change. This is not going to change, right? If you keep doing the same thing but expecting things to change, that is the definition of insanity, right? It is. It's crazy making at the very least. So this is where fate is aligned in your favor as opposed to against you if the card was in reversed. So this is what's happening. We are divine timing. I mean, over the weekend, like when you look at the Schumann resonance and what's been going on with that, and there was a significant block, like a timeline jump. And hi, Jod, how are you? So there was a lot of stuff that was going on energetically, right? And I think that a lot of us have been feeling it. And there definitely seems to be like a shift in energy over the course of the last couple of days specifically, okay? So that wheel reminds you that nothing is stagnant, okay? Everything moves in cycles. Embrace the rhythm of change, align with divine flow, and trust that each turn is bringing you closer to your highest path. How are you, love? So let's check in on our 44 keys of the way. That bread smells so good. Oh my goodness. Oh, we're going to get that one, the one that fell down. Oh, I like that one. All right, let's see. What else do we... Okay. We're going to take that one too because it won't... it would just making me. It's making me. All right, and put those cards back. And get these two. Oh, I like it. I like it. We're going to have 4, okay, guys? 4 of the 44 keys of the way. It seems perfect. And look at, they're all different colors. All right. I love these cards. I have to tell you, like, I love the tarot cards, and I love the 44 keys of the way. I love all the cards that I did because I made them. Yeah, it's heavy, hey? It's heavy. It sounds like you're getting downloads. Yes. Pressure systems have been big. They've been huge. They've been huge. Are you Sagittarius in tropical astrology? You know what's funny? I just realized, like, I feel like I was like actually raising my voice, almost like I was yelling at you, like you're far away. Where are you? Where are you? Okay, let's do these cards as we continue to talk. Okay, so the first card that came out is the quiet mind. And the quiet mind, the affirmation is, I allow my mind to rest in silence. Ooh, double Virgo. And tropical, though. Have you ever looked at your chart in true sidereal? Because I wonder if you'd be under the 13th sign Ophiuchus or if you'd be under Scorpio. Because it typically moves by one sign, but because Scorpio and Ophiuchus are 2 of the smaller signs, it all depends on when you were born in December. Like if you, yeah, anyway. Okay, I'm going to go back to reading the card because I was like waiting. 2 on the timer. Okay, so I allow my mind to rest in silence. And this can be a message for anybody that's watching this, or whenever you stumble across this, this could be exactly what you need to hear. Silence is not absence, it is access. Okay? Nice. Nice. Not far off. I'm the sixth. It is access. When input reduces, insight increases. The mind can learn to rest without losing awareness. From quiet, precision returns. So the practice here is to set a 3-minute timer, absolutely no input, not being on your phone, not reading a book, not watching TV, listening to music, nothing. Sit in silence with nothing for 3 minutes. It's not that hard. And if it is, then you might be the person that needs to come and hang out with us in the Balanced Self group or in Return to Center, which is live starting tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mountain. We're doing 10 days at 3 p.m. Mountain, 10 days in a row. We are returning to center. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information, but we're going to do a practical thing. You get a PDF filled with all kinds of bonuses. It's going to help you to return to center. So to bring yourself back to yourself, to get back to the truth, right? To get back to the present moment. That's what the return to center is all about. And if you don't want to do the live experience, there is a recorded version. So you can definitely just purchase that and do it self-paced. Maybe you want to do it over 12 days. But that can really help, like especially for somebody that's been feeling overwhelmed or feeling like you're very scattered or you're overthinking a lot or what's going on out there it seems to be too much. If you're feeling like it's too much now, you should come and hang out with me and do Return to Center either by yourself or in the live experience, or you should come and hang out with us in the Balanced Self group. Where we can support you and your nervous system because, yeah, it's always a good idea to have tools to regulate your nervous system. Your nervous system dictates and predicts how much capacity you have to hold things. The more regulated that your nervous system is, the more that you can handle relationships of a variety with people you like, with people you love, and with people you don't, right? But you're taught you would be able to stay grounded and present and stay in your truth no matter what's going on around you. And that's a very powerful thing. It's like the Bruce Lee thing, right? Like Bruce Lee was such a just amazing person. Okay, so our affirmation, the second card that came out of the 44 Keys of the Way is the expanding awareness. The affirmation is, my awareness continues to expand, and it does as long as you seek more information, right? If every piece of information that opposes the stuff that you already know, if you oppose it, you just shut it off. If it's not mine, it's not, nope, right? If it does, I don't agree with it. Nope, that's not what I believe. Nope, that's not what I know. If you do that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. That's a very closed way to be. One of the things I like to tell people is the best way to handle society is just to look at it like you're being lied to 80% of the time. 80%. Right? Yes. Go walk in the woods, go hang out with the trees, ground as much as you can. Meditation's huge. I actually started meditating more. And the more that I do it, it seems the more that I love it. But I also channel when I meditate, like I do automatic writing when I meditate. So I've been enjoying that. Plus, you can do timeline jumping, you can do body healing, like you can hack yourself. You can do all kinds of things when you're meditating, because when you get into that state, especially 0 point, confirmation, that was like ding, ding, and simply dimply, right? Simply dimply. It's the hacking your life. Okay, so the expanding awareness. So the remembrance is, oh my God. Yes. Where are you located? Are you like, I'm in Alberta, Canada. I don't have to say Canada. If I say Alberta, pretty much everybody knows it's Canada, but anyway. So the remembrance on the expanding awareness. Awareness increases with attention and inquiry. Exposure to new inputs broadens perspectives. Integration stabilizes it. Nice. I love it. I drove across Canada so many times, and I love driving through Saskatchewan. I really do. I don't know. I like Canada. I like the countryside. I love Earth. I love Mother Earth. So the practice for this one here is to learn one new concept, and then you got to summarize it in 3 sentences, and then you have to apply one piece of it. So you could learn, say, you could learn a new calming technique. Me too. That's my number one goal. I'm out. I am out. I live in Alberta. Like we had a snow squall last week. We just melted. I still had snow today. I still have snow today. I think it might be gone. Do you have snow still? Okay. The next card that came out was Balanced Life. And Balanced Life, the affirmation is, I create harmony between effort and rest. Huh? You can, but you must understand we are equal. Nothing you do individual can do. Yeah, it's been just crazy weather. We know why. So balance is dynamic. It's not fixed. If you're overextending yourself, it's going to lead to depletion. And if you're underdoing things, then it's going to lead to stagnation, right? You have to find that balance, but every day isn't the same. That doesn't mean balance. It's the same thing in a relationship. It's not give and take evenly every day. It's not 50-50 every day. It's just that over the course of the relationship, the balance is maintained, that there is a give and take that is even and appropriate, right? That energy exchange. So adjustment maintains momentum, because if you go at it hard every single day, you're going to burn out. And if you don't, then you're never going to get anywhere, right? So you have to go between those both. And it's interesting because I said to myself today, because I'm somebody, like, I run 2 companies, right? And I run this one here on Sha'Ryah. So I help people with trauma, mental health. I'm a nervous system specialist is what it really is. And I help people on their awakening journey. So I have 2 different things. So balanced self is the one group that I have, and embodied leadership is the other group that I have. And, as an example of the 2 different things that I do. So, and then I also run a nonprofit, and my nonprofit's Hugs for Homeless, where I help the homeless, right? So I have to balance things. And I realized the other day, I was like, you know what? It would be really nice to just shut off for the day and just be like, I'm done. And I shut off at like 3:00 and just be done for the whole entire evening. Right. And just not look at the computer again, not check in again, not do anything, just be done and have a day off, or have a whole weekend, or take a whole week. I can't even remember the last time I had a week's holiday and never even thought about working. Yeah, I don't even know. So you have to find that balance, right? So the practice here is to identify one task to pause, to take a 10-minute rest, and then return back to it with a focused block of time. So you decide 10 more minutes. I'm going to do it for 20 minutes or whatever. There's, is it palindrome? No, palindrome is when it's the same. There's I used to teach it. I have to look in my old notes. It's a specific type of time management thing where you do blocks like that. And you do like a 20-minute block, have a 5-minute break, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, and then take 15. So that's the way that you do it. So yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Joseph. Like, I don't. You can, but you must understand we are equal. Absolutely. Everybody's equal. It's unity consciousness. And then 8507 $, 777344. Anyway, so return with a focus block, but that was one of the type of time management techniques that you could do. There's many of them out there, but that one I remember teaching when I was in nurse educating. Sorry, I just don't understand what you're saying. Like, there's just numbers, and like it looked like you wanted me to. Do you want me to call you? I'm kidding. Okay, so the last card that came out of the 44 keys of the way is the shared humanity. And this one here, the affirmation is, I am connected with all life. So the remembrance is, recognizing commonality reduces isolation and judgment. We're always looking out there for a mirror. We're looking for somebody to say, hi, me too. Yeah, I've dealt with that too. Yeah, I've experienced that too. Yeah, right. I understand what you're saying. So that recognizing commonalities is a way that we can learn acceptance and understanding and compassion for other people. So if you look at it, say you have this viewpoint on the homeless, that there are all this particular type of people, but then you meet me, and then I start telling you about some of the things about homeless people and what the statistics are actually showing. And maybe you understand, like, hey, this lady, she was almost homeless. She was homeless as a child a couple of times. And then as an adult, she was almost homeless again. And, the only thing that really saved her in that was because she had a mom. But that there's lots of people out there that are out of foster care who end up homeless because they don't have family to fall back on after they have aged out of foster care. So just knowing that might open up your heart a little and allow you to have some compassion, or to recognize that there's some commonality in there. Maybe you're somebody that had foster care or were in foster care for a certain amount of time, but you got to go back to your family. And at the end of the day, that's the thing that saved you from being homeless. or anything else, just to understand that it's not always the one way that it's portrayed to be. Yes, there maybe is a lot of addictions in homelessness, but that's also something that is perpetuated through society. Like there's a whole breakdown in structure. Like we're not meant to live the way that we are. This is not the proper human experience. This is the distorted human experience that we're living. And for many of us, that's just a really challenge. So when we have the people who are choosing to be that way, it's usually because they can't live in the society the way that it is, because it's not the way that we're meant to live. Right. And, so there's all these different reasons why. But if you just pigeonhole one thing and you close yourself to that, then we need to go back to this one here where it talks about expanding your awareness, because that fixed awareness, that's not helping you and it's not helping anyone. Right. And I was talking about that in the channeled message that I did this morning. Like every morning I sit and meditate, and then I channel a message through. And then every night I sit and meditate again, and I channel a different message through. In the morning, I channel a message for the collective. At night, I channel a message for me or for my leadership group. These are not messages, like the evening messages aren't necessarily ones that I can just share with everybody, because they're not ready for that level of information. And it's all about energy. It's about frequency. It's about resonance. Right. And the more that you seek information, the more that you open yourself up to the knowledge that's out there in the world. There's so much that's available. Right. And if you don't know where to look, then find someone that's talking about stuff like that you like, and start following their stuff, so you can start getting yourself opening up your awareness, because you're going to need to expand it as we're going forward. Right. There's going to be some really big things coming that's going to open up everybody's eyes very, very much. Right. So 36 on the timer there. All right. Do you guys want a couple cards before we talk about a couple other things? I would love to give you a return to center card. So all of these cards are cards that I made. I'm in the process of creating the return to center pictures. The 44 keys of the way, I painted all of these cards. I love them. They're just so dear to me. I feel like it's like a Beatrice Potter thing. I just absolutely love these. These ones I did all in Procreate. So these are all my images as well. But they're just different formats. And these ones I just haven't drawn. I'm doing them. So we'll see them at some point. All right. So if you want a card from the Return to Center, hello, thank you for liking my live. Then just let me know that you want a card, and I'll pull a card for you. You don't have to say anything other than that. I'd like a card, please. Yes, card. You can anyway. Okay. Carol. All right. Can I get a card for Carol, please? Oh, that bread smells so good, guys. Oh my goodness. All right. All right. It's interesting because the one is awareness. So it's like searching for relief. So there may be something that's not like that's bothering you, that you're maybe not pinpointing, something small, but you are trying to escape discomfort. So the impulse to fix or escape. So that's like switch tasks, scrolling, right? Like not having the focus to stay committed to a particular task, or finding yourself, oh, wow, that was 20 minutes, right? That's what the card's talking about. So it says when you start to act from that space, then what it does is it increases your instability and prolongs the state, whatever state it is that's causing you to go into those mindless moments. Because oftentimes when we're doing those things, it's so that we can actually just pull back from whatever it is that's bothering us. So we don't have to address it. So there's something that you're searching for. It's kind of like when you buy things and it's almost compulsive, right? And you're like, oh, did I buy that? When did I buy that? Right? Like making those purchases, there's usually something that's at the other side of that that's saying, hey, I'm going to avoid the discomfort of something. And so I'm going to purchase this because it'll make me feel better for a moment. That's the energy of this card. So it's telling you to stop searching or stop buying or stop filling, right? Like stop doing that. Just sit still for 60 seconds and breathe. Okay. All right, Sagittarius. Oh, wait, I got to get bread. Oh, my goodness. Look at it. Fresh bread, fresh bread. Sorry. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. I have to do something with it before I can come right back. And that's not, I'm not eating it. Not yet. All right. I'm so excited about bread. So after I put the bread on the cooling rack, I take a pat of butter and I run it over the top of it so that it coats the top of it, and then I dust salt on it. And then when it cools, then you can cut into it. But all right. I do all kinds of things. I fix my car. I bake bread. Actually, I eat very holistic. I grow food when I can. Yeah. I don't know. I live life in motion. It would be the best way to put it, right? I live life in motion, but not always going. Like, that's not, like, I will sit down and meditate for like an hour in the afternoon, or, after I'm done work tonight, I'll probably, by then I'll have like, and not that this is like, I don't really call this home, like work, right? But when I'm done my live tonight, I'll probably have a piece of that bread, because I'm sure whatever time I'm done this, it's time to eat the bread. And then I'll probably meditate. I'll just meditate for the rest of the night and then go to bed. That's pretty much would be my night. Yeah. I feel. Oh. All right. So, oh, you know what? I don't even have any jam right now. I finished I brought from Ontario. I drove across the country at the end of October last year from Ontario to Alberta. And I brought homemade jam from my mom, but I don't have it anymore. I don't have any jam because the only jam I had was my mom's jam. I'm sad. I'm sad, but I could have it with honey or peanut butter. But it's not mom's jam. My mom's strawberry jam, I would like just love that in my cupboard, in my fridge right now. I keep bugging her too, but she got a boyfriend, so she doesn't got time for me or making jam. I'm gonna razz her about that too. I might call her after this live if it's not too late. Honey and butter. Ooh. I don't usually, well, yeah, but anyway. Okay. I'm gonna focus. I really am. Are you hearing a squeak too? I don't know. I'm hearing something. Anyway, so the card for you is the integration card, and it says hold your direction. So stay the course. External inputs can disrupt your path. So there might be someone that's trying to tell you or take you off of like, don't do that, right? Or, somebody that doesn't really support what ideas you have, something along that. But just be careful because, like, obviously everybody likes to keep everybody down, right? Society in general wants to keep you down. And so just don't listen to anybody. Maintaining direction prevents the drift and supports progress. So just reinstate your intention and align your next action with it. So whatever it is that, someone's trying to get you to deter your course from, to change your mind, to change your path, tell them that's what you're doing and then take action on it. So you reaffirm as well to the universe that, hey, I'm in this, I'm doing this. This is what I mean. This is what I want. Does that make sense? Well, that's interesting. You see names come up across the bottom of it and you're like, what's that? Okay, we're going to talk about something really cool. Liz, did you want a card? Because I think you do. Yeah, because as soon as it came out, it literally almost was like it whispered Liz to me as it did it. Thank you so much, sweetheart. So this card comes from the clarity section and it says, this is simpler than it feels. You are overcomplicating. So when you're activated, what happens is you start to increase complexity of things, right? It's harder to make sense of things when you're in an activated state. And it doesn't matter what it is. If you're at work and your boss comes over and like it makes you feel like your job's on the line or something like that, and you get that, ooh, and you turn into fight flight mode, you're not paying it, like you're not making sense of everything. You're not catching everything that's going on around you, right? So that's just an example of that kind of an environment, right? Where when somebody, it's the same thing at home, right? Like I think about, when you're in an argument with your spouse and like your children are talking to you and you're not like hearing anything because your mind's just like ringing, right? It's just like, oh my God, like that, as another type of an example. So, but when you're looking at that, the thing to consider is that the actual situation is more direct. And a lot of times we'll add to it. Like we assume things. We like to, I think I know why they did that, or I think I know what they're thinking, or I think I know what the future is going to show me. And so we start to build the end of the story. And oftentimes we build it in a really like non-helpful way. So we're not really supporting ourselves. So my dog just stood up. I have to check something. Thank you. Just 1 second. What are you looking at? I just gotta do a peek and make sure I'm not barking on you. You sense something? Are we gonna have more deer today? We've had a lot of action on the property today. I don't know what else we can handle. We did see the fox, though. No foxes because we didn't have any massive bark fests. I know, we didn't. That's what he likes to do. He likes to bark his ever-living mind off when he sees a fox. But I have trained him now to be quiet after the deer show up. So he'll give me a little boof, boof. When he sees them, maybe a little bit of a bark. And then once he sees that it's deer, he sits down and he just watches them. Yes. So then I can watch them too. Okay. Let's talk about all these cool things that I have in the works. No, I'm kidding. I wanted to talk to you about, so I've been working on something in the background, and I'm going to start talking about things like this on our Wednesday lives. So I do 3 different lives per week, and they all have a different purpose behind them, but there's an over or underlying, there's a string that runs between them that keeps it the same. And I mean, besides the fact that it's me, but every day I check in, like every time I do a live, I'll check in with the energy and be using the cards that I created, like the different decks that I've created. If you want a reading, you can go to the site and I have readings available. But I just realized I have to put this back. I have to finish your thing. Before I go any further, I just realized as I touched the card and I put it back over, I was, wait, I forgot to tell her embodiment practice. I'm sorry, Liz. So with this situation, what you have to do is just state the situation in one simple sentence. Okay. And you just want the facts, ma'am, just the facts. Okay. It's not what you're feeling about it. It's none of that. It's what is happening, just the facts. And try to be as direct and simple as you can with it, so you're not adding any extra information into it. You know, it's fine if what the facts are is, say my job is toxic and I need to find a new one, then make a plan for that, right? It's easier, I can tell you, as a manager and as someone who's done lots and lots of interviews, somebody that has a job looks more employable to an employer than somebody that doesn't. Right? Because, you know, so if that was the case, you'd want to look for a job from your place of employment. And also that keeps you with money in your hands until you change jobs, if that's as an example. So you're just to state it in one simple sentence, what the situation is. Okay. So that's your practice for that. So anyway, the string that runs between them all is that there's the cards. You can always check out the cards or check out readings at my website. I also do astrology readings, which is what the Sunday Live is all about. You're welcome, sweetheart. The Sunday Live is all about checking in with so we do the energy check-in with the cards, and then we check in with the energies of the planets in the sky and what's happening. So this is looking at true sidereal. This is the living sky. If you go to theskylive.com, you can verify everything I share in my live. And I've also taken the distortions out of the signs in that particular live, because there's a lot of distortions that are built into the signs that we see through the tropical system. And it's on purpose, because we create an identity from our labels. So if we have a label such as I'm Aries, I'm a hothead, then we have just given ourselves the freedom to be a hothead instead of managing our emotions, because after all, I'm an Aries, right? And I mean, I'm Aries rising. I'm not an Aries. I'm Ophiuchus, but I'm Aries rising. And so when we look at it that way, it's important to take away the distortions that are there. And when we think about the spiritual war that we're in, right, there's the looking at the energy, the looshing of energy. And one of the things that we do, we'll have all these rituals and events, and we'll be like, ooh, full moon, full moon, full moon. Right now they're talking about the full moon, but they're talking about the full moon in Scorpio. The full moon isn't in Scorpio. The full moon is in Libra, and is on this side of Libra, so much so that if you look at certain people that do true sidereal, they'll say that it's a Virgo Libra cusp. But when I look at the time and of the full moon, when the time of the full moon happens, and I track it in the True Sky app, like the Sky Live app, it shows that it's in Libra, that it's in Libra. So maybe it's close, like it's a few degrees inside Libra, but at the same time, it's still Libra. So that's what you would want to be doing. If you're releasing things, you're going to be wanting to release things that are out of balance. You're going to be wanting to review your relationship. And that's when you think about full moons bring things to light. They reveal things. So what the full moon is going to reveal to us is things in our relationships where there's an imbalance, where there's a lack of harmony. It's going to show us in our lives where there's, where it's going to reveal where we maybe need more beauty in our lives. But it's going to bring the truth, or reveal the truth within relationships. So when you're doing something on that full moon, you're going to want to make sure that you're doing it under the Libra energy, not the Scorpio, because what would Scorpio be doing? Well, Scorpio, it reveals truths, but it's the hidden truths. It's the truths you don't want to tell yourself. And when we get into that, what they would have you do is a release ritual, right? Because that's what you would do on a full moon, right? You manifest on the new moon according to traditional stuff. You'd have to, like, it's so funny when I think about all the different things that I've studied. I was telling Carol about that. Like, I studied astrology, moonology, like in the tropical system. I studied moonology. I studied human design, gene keys, and then true sidereal. And then now I do my own Christic astrology. But like all of those together inform things, right? Like it's still a basis of understanding and you build upon that. So you're gonna, when we are doing that energy, like when we are doing rituals and we're not doing it under the right energy, what we're doing is looshing energy, and that's what they are harnessing. When we're talking about the looshing and we're talking about spiritual war, that's what it's talking about, is that you're looshing the energy because you're doing things under the wrong sign, under the wrong energy. Right. So that's, I'm to give an understanding of that. So we just want to be really careful. I just work with the true energies that we're under. If the sun is in Aries, then the sun's in Aries. If the moon is in Pisces, the moon is in Pisces. It's not right now. It's not. I can actually check. I always have the Sky Live up and running on my computer. I very, very seldom close it. The moon is in Virgo. And I was about to say, I'm pretty sure it's in Virgo for pretty much all of the week, and then it'll transition into Libra at the full moon on the 1st. So the Virgo energy of the moon, it is with us refining our environment. So we would be looking at things under this moon, and we would want to be, well, how, like, what am I, the great Virgo moon, right? Yeah. But are you Virgo moon under true sidereal, or are you Virgo moon under, tropical, or sorry, under, yeah. Which one are you true? Which one is your Virgo moon under? Because Virgo moons are a great moon. When we look at like the distortions that have been built into, hello, Marzad, how are you, love? Yeah. So with the Virgo, you would be actually Leo. You would be a double Leo more than likely. Although because Virgo is such a large sign, I can. There's a site. It's called masteringthezodiac.com. You can go there. They do a free site. It's pretty good. Their boundaries of the signs are a little different than mine. So they would, I always confirm with the Sky Live to verify the signs. And then I do your reading from there. But yeah, I look at it, it's a layer, right? It's like peeling the onion and peeling back another layer and another layer and another layer. They just give you different facets of yourself. And I feel like the tropical astrology aligns with us really well when we are more in our ego. And that might sound weird, but and then as you move through, if you start to look at the true sidereal as you evolve through the awakening process, all of a sudden you'll look at it and you'll be like, yeah, actually, no, that really does make a lot of sense. I understand. I was a super Sagittarius. Like I had 5 placements in Sagittarius under tropical astrology. And, I talked about that all the time. Virgo moon, Taurus rising. That was my top 3. And then I had Sagittarius everywhere. And then I find out that it's actually, when I look at it in the other way, it's Ophiuchus and Scorpio and Sagittarius, like it's split amongst them all. And then the Leo moon makes way more sense. And so does Aries rising. Like anybody that knows me is I get up and I'm ready. Like I wake up ready. I jump out of bed and it's like, I got to slow myself down. Like I have to like slow down. I had to put meditation in and stick to that, because otherwise I get up and I used to just I would get up in the morning, go make a tea, sit down and start working, and I work all day because I'm just ready. I'm just ready to go. Yeah. You should check it out. Like if you want, go check out my website and I can do a chart for you. You just have to send me your information. You just have to go to my site. I'll do a whole chart for you under my system. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So I was going to talk about the other system that I designed because you know me, Carol, she's one of my my bestest. She is my best friend. She's not one of. She's my bestest friend. She she's going to be joining me in a project as well. She's going to be joining me in Balanced Self. Yeah, she's going to co-host Balanced Self with me, which is going to be awesome. She has a lot to bring to the table as well. Yeah. Yeah. So if you did that, I'll give you a thing. I have a thing right here. Okay. So if you were to be in the other sign, I just have to open my document. Recents. They should have just had a recent. That would have been perfect. And I want sun, moon, rising. Quick one. So if you were in the other system, if we just said you would move by one, then you would be Leo, right? If you want to move one, you would be Leo rising because you're double Virgo, right? So you'd be double Leo. Leo rising usually brings visibility and natural presence. People with this rising sign are often noticed quickly because there is warmth, charisma, and expressive energy. When combined with the sun and moon placements, this rising sign tends to highlight leadership and creative expression. So then we add the moon in there. We'll skip by the sun. We'll come back to the moon. So Leo moon expresses emotions openly and passionately. There is often a desire to feel appreciated, valued, and creatively expressed. And then when you go to your sun, it would be Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus' sun often expresses a path of knowledge, healing, and transformation. There is frequently a desire to uncover deeper wisdom and guide others through cycles of renewal. And if it did bump 2 into Scorpio, then you would have that depth and transformative power. This placement often seeks truth beneath the surface and has strong emotional intensity and resilience. So those would be your big 3 in true sidereal to switch it over, and obviously giving you a little excited thing. I'm so excited about it too. It's going to be so awesome. May is going to be an amazing month, and it's going to unfold so quickly. So we're going to have to, definitely keep on top of things. So the other thing that I've been doing is I've been working on the chakra systems. And so what I have got now is called the Christic Embodiment Method. And so we are going to talk about all of this stuff. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an understanding about the multi-dimensional chakra system. Yeah. See, and I was the same way. I was like, oh, I must have got the Sagittarius fire, right? I must have got but it was the Leo fire. It was the moon fire, like my emotions. And that made more sense because I was like, I don't feel detached. Like Virgo is a much more cool emotion, like emotionally, it's much more cool. So when you go into the Leo moon, though, that's like a really warm person. And I was like, I feel so much warmer than what Virgo says I am. Like I just felt weird. But then I thought I must be that Sagittarius, like the golden retriever, right? Maybe that's where I get it all from. But when I actually went and did my chart completely in true sidereal and then all the other, stuff that I've done along the way, it makes so much sense to me now. It like totally makes sense to me now. Yeah. So I would love to do your chart too, Myers. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about the chakra system tonight, and I'm going to get you guys a little bit excited maybe about the Christic embodiment method. So the Virgo energy, the Virgo is the master, right? What Virgo consistently does is refine the environment that they're in to seek out mastery. And then they love to serve. They are very driven by serving other people. That's in the tropical. That's the way that they capture it in the tropical, is that the Virgo is the perfectionist. It's highly critical. It is, I said perfectionist. And they are like, they serve and serve and serve. So if you follow that and you identify with that, what you can sign yourself up to do is, if you operate under the Virgo energy, you end up being like, you give and you give and you give, and you serve and you serve and you serve, because you think, oh, I'm a Virgo. And you also think it's okay that you're super critical and that you are a perfectionist and all of these things. But when you start to change the way, because what you label yourself as, what you identify yourself as, if you hold up that identity, and I used to tell this to people all the time with the empath thing, because everybody wants to say, I'm an empath. I'm an empath. I know I can feel what other people are feeling. I feel the energy of everybody else. Most of us do feel energy from other people, but really what ends up happening a lot of the times is that we have unresolved trauma. We don't know how to manage our emotions. We have boundary issues, stuff like this. But we're not really empaths. We're maybe very sensitive. We could be very highly sensitive people. A true empath, like that would actually be a diagnosed empath, is the same thing with a narcissist, right? That's another term that gets thrown around all the time. Like, how many people end up breaking up with their ex and like, he was a narcissist, right? Like, it's just a common thing to hear all the time. Now, narcissism has risen over the years, and there's definitely more narcissists out there than what they've captured in the statistics. And the reason for that is because a narcissist doesn't necessarily think there's anything wrong with them. So why would they ever go and get treatment? So they never go and get diagnosed. So there's definitely more out there than what the statistics capture, but there's not as many as what people say. A lot of times it's just toxic behaviors. It's just really poor, it's trauma and poor, emotional regulation, and on, right? But what happens though, when we overuse a term, is that we dilute it, and then it now no longer has any value or any power. And that gets done on purpose as well. Everybody wants to run around and be an empath. And I used to say, well, be careful what you wish for, right? Because if you look at the mainstream, what they say about an empath, right? If I said to here, I don't know if I can do this in this order. It's weird to turn the keyboard side, like it's just not in the right space, then it's hard to find the letters. Where is it? E, M, P, A. I'm like, you just could have been nice and filled it in for me. Okay. All right. So when we define an empath, an empath is, according to the AI definition of it, but we'll look at, and we can look at some other things as well. But an empath is an individual who possesses a significantly higher level of empathy than the average person, characterized by the ability to deeply sense, understand, and often physically or emotionally absorb the feelings of others. So if you say to yourself, I'm an empath, you've just agreed to absorb the feelings of others. That's what you think that you're doing. That's what you think you're supposed to do as an empath. Empaths are not supposed to absorb the feelings of others. Empaths can tap in and feel the energy of others, but they don't have to. That's what you're supposed to put you're supposed to shield your energy. You should shield your energy whether you're an empath or not. But that's not the point, right? So when they keep going on, so while the term is not a formal medical or psychological diagnosis, it describes people who are highly attuned to the emotional states of those around them, sometimes picking up on subtle cues before they are consciously communicated. Key characteristics of empaths include high sensitivity. They are often described as emotional sponges. Do you want to be an emotional sponge? I don't. Who take on the joys and stresses. You're taking on the stresses of others. Oh, geez, don't do that, which can lead to overwhelm or burnout. They have deep intuition. Empaths frequently have strong intuition, allowing them to discern unspoken emotions or hidden intentions through nonverbal cues. Did you know that having ADHD gives you high pattern recognition? And so somebody that has ADD or ADHD with high pattern recognition is going to be able to see all that on all those things. They're going to see the patterns before everybody else. Did you know that as somebody that experienced trauma, you're probably highly sensitive? And also a part of ADHD is high sensitivity, especially when around rejection. Boundary challenges. Because they so readily connect with others' pains, empaths often struggle to set healthy boundaries between their own emotions and those of the others. So once again, you're now assigning yourself that you have boundary issues for emotions. You struggle, right? Yes, it is. But the shielding is possible, right? And it's been something we need to be teaching or learning. So the types, there's a common distinctions include emotional empaths that are sensitive to others' feelings, physical empaths that tune into physical pain, and then intuitive empaths, which exceptionally perceptive, sometimes associated with paranormal beliefs. So in popular culture and spiritual context, the term is sometimes used to describe individuals with paranormal or psychic abilities to sense energy fields, though mainstream psychology attributes these experiences to heightened empathy and mirror neuron activity rather than supernatural powers. So there is like an element of that, right? That we can develop our abilities, right? We can develop our psychic abilities. The more that you sit in silence and stillness and you quiet yourself, you quiet your thoughts, you go within, the more that you do that, the more that you're going to expand your gifts. Same thing if you want to learn how to do telekinesis, or you want to learn how to play with fire. You have to do it, right? You have to actually get a piece of paper and set it up on your counter, and then you actually have to try to push the paper. You have to practice that until you start to play with the energy, right? So start to play with energy if that's something that you want to do. But again, it's the practice, right? So everything with your abilities, that all comes down to practice. And a lot of the practice is just going into silence and listening. All right. So I decided to go way off onto labels and stuff like that with the whole identity. So anyway, we're talking about the Christic embodiment method, which is talking about how the chakra system is not a fixed number structure, right? It is a multidimensional fractal energy architecture. So it's not limited to 7 chakras. And for many of us, we might know of the 7 that sit within the body. Some of us have known that, there's the soul star and so on, and there's the earth star and so on, right? That there's these other chakras that exist outside of the body. But this is multidimensional that I'm talking about. So there was a time when it was talked about and it said that you had 330 chakras, but you don't have that many. You have that many gates to access them, but you don't have that many chakras. I'll explain. Okay. So it's best understood, the chakra system, as having core gates that are expressing themselves across layers of consciousness. Okay. And the purpose is not accumulation. It's actually integration and coherence. So we have that there are 50 primary chakra gates. Okay. And these get stacked across the multidimensional bodies is the way that the chakra system works. So these are not points, but functional interfaces between consciousness and embodiment. And each gate represents a frequency band, a function of perception or creation, and a mode of interaction with reality. These gates are organized through patterning, not vertical ladder alone. So the key idea here is that you do not activate more and more chakras. You integrate and stabilize the system that already exists. Okay. So the number 333 appears because each of the gates, like I said, it expresses itself through multiple layers of the human energy system, right? So if you know the body, like the human system, you know that there's energy bodies, there's multiple layers, right? You have your mental body, you have your emotional body, you have your physical body, you have your spiritual body, so on. So when these 50 core gates are expressing through those multiple layers of the human system, and these layers can be understood in a functional manner. The first layer is your physical layer, which is the planetary level. And this is where it's about your nervous system, it's about your body regulation, and it's related to survival and grounding. The next layer is your emotional layer. And this is also the relational layer. This is where we get into our bondings, where we get into our attachment patterns, and where we go through our emotional processing. Next, we go to our mental and cognitive layer. So that's the next energy layer out. When we're in that cognitive layer, this is where we're dealing with our thought patterns. We're dealing with the meaning making and our belief systems. Then we move into the fourth layer, which is the archetypal or our identity layer. And this is our roles, our personal identity, and our expression. Then beyond that, we get into the transpersonal or the collective layer, and this is the group fields. This is where we get some cultural influences and where we meet with shared consciousness. When we get to the sixth layer, this is the non-local. This is just the awareness layer. So this is direct perception, intuition, and non-linear knowledge. When we get to the seventh layer, this is the unintegrated latent layer. And this is why we get 330 of them, because each of them is 50 till the seventh one, which is only 30. Okay, so the unintegrated latent layer is only partial. It's not fully stabilized yet. It appears as fragmentation or distortion when it's accessed prematurely. So when people attempt to match each expression as a separate chakra, it makes it look like the system has 330, but they're not. They're just gates at different layers. So you'll have gate 1 at layer 1, gate 1 at layer 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Gate 1 would probably span across all 7, whereas gate 10 might not, right? It's because there's only, I mapped the system. Oh, I can explain it later. So does that make sense to you, or does that sound like really far out? Or does it make more sense when you think about yourself as a multidimensional intergalactic being that you are, right? And this is from like all kinds of knowledge. Like my friend Carol hangs out with me and she knows all the different stuff that I talk about, right? And all the different things that I read and all the different things that I research and stuff like that, because I live alone with my dog and I like to learn things and I like to teach things. And I'm on this exploration of truth. So I love to seek new knowledge. That's just like, I'm like a Pac-Man with knowledge. Right? So let's look at why do systems break down, and you'll understand this. This is going to give us a lot of ideas about what's happening to us collectively right now, what we're dealing with. So our energy system destabilizes when our environment is disconnected from natural regulation. So what are some of the things that have happened in society? One, we're disconnected from nature. If you go into any cities, it's like concrete jungles, right? Then we have unnatural lighting. They made them more and more artificial as we went. We're inundated with frequencies. And we wear rubber sole shoes. We barely ever, we connect, but society wise, like we're looking at, this is how society is, right? So the environment and our calendar's wrong. The timeline that we're on is wrong. Like all of these information, all of these things are wrong. Then you take the astrological that we're running under, and it's been frozen from 2,000 years ago, frozen in time 2,000 years ago. And we're still following that same seasonal pattern every single year with it frozen in time. Exactly. There's so many things. So that's one of the number one ways that our that our energy system gets destabilized. So it's done on purpose, right? All of those things that are out there are done on purpose to disconnect us from that. Okay. When your nervous system is overloaded is another thing that destabilizes your energy system. So what do we get everywhere? Doom, gloom, drama, fear, program, scare. Oh my God, right? We don't even know what's real anymore. There's so much stuff out there. Like you can, like I said, 80% of it, just think it's a lie. 80% of it's a lie. Don't watch the news. Don't watch the media. It's all propaganda, right? Just go outside and kiss, hug a tree, hug a tree. So the next thing that works against the energy system or destabilizes it is when your identity is fragmented. So what do they do now? They take we're so confused. We don't even know what we are anymore. We don't even know. Our identity's all over the place. We're given all these labels that we didn't even ask for. How many of us grew up and were called lazy or dumb or, Miss Piggy or whatever, right? Like we got all these names applied to us. We got told we were all these, we were to be a certain way or, those are the labels that we picked up. And again, going back to like the empath, right? If you pick up that label empath and you say, I'm an empath because you think it's niche or it's cool or it's whatever. And then you're assigning that to you and your body goes, oh, we're an empath. So that means we don't have any emotional boundaries. And this means this and this and this, right? So you just have to be careful what you agree to. So the identity being fragmented. And then meaning is externally imposed. So we get our value from external to us, right? So between those four things, and think about where society is right now, right? Think about what's happening to society. The environment is disconnected from our natural regulation, from natural rhythms, from nature itself. The nervous system is overloaded, inundated with fear and everything. Everybody's identities are fragmented because they don't even know who and what they are at the core. I mean, some of us do. We know that we're spirits having a human experience and, stuff like that, that we're multigalactic, multidimensional beings. Like we'll have those understandings. But then we have, a lot of people that do not, their identities are very fragmented because they're outsourcing their sovereignty. They're outsourcing everything to somebody else. And meaning they're looking outside. Oh, it'll be great when this happens. It'll be great when I have $1 million. It'll be awesome when this happens. And it'll be better, right? Like it's that constant meaning making. And also like, if only I was prettier, if only I was thinner, if only I, like you have to do all those things. Have the bigger car, have the nicer clothes, have the bigger house, have all the things, right? That meaning and that life meaning is externally imposed. We are looking externally, asking for them to make meaning for us is a lot of what happens. So there was a mouse experiment that showed that once a colony of mice got over 100 mice, that it would start to break down, right? And I said I had this conversation with ChatGPT to talk about this mice experiment because, sometimes I want to talk something out. So I was saying to ChatGPT, and I'm like, the thing to me, like with the mice experiment is that I don't believe that the mice experiment is valid because, it's not a natural environment. Like no matter what you get, like at a certain point, the natural environment theory, like it's not like you're watching, you put 100 mice and they have like mice wouldn't do that. If they would leave. Like there's a natural cycle to their lives. Like mice wouldn't just stay in a big horde of people like that, no matter whether they're like, yeah, you plied them with food or you did this with them, like you got them to stay in that environment. But the reason why it devolves because it's not a natural environment. That's not what a mouse would do, right? It's the same thing. Like, as an animal matures, that animal leaves their tribe oftentimes, especially the young males, and they'll go out and find or create their own tribe, or they'll go to another tribe and, become a part of that tribe, right? That type of stuff wouldn't have been able to happen within this experiment. So that's this is examples of that. Like as I did more and more research and I gathered more and more information from all the different things that I've studied, this is why it makes sense, right? Why why we are most of society's chakras are out of whack. They're not stabilized. right? So it's not because of the number that the mouse thing failed. It failed because there was a loss of regulation and there was a loss of purpose. There wasn't, at a certain point, they lost where's my role in the tribe? Where's my function? What do I do? Right? What was my purpose? Right? And so that was a big part of why those failed. So when we're working with this system, and this is what I'm going to teach with it as we go, but when we're working with this system, we're going to work through it through layers, right? So the first layer is regulation. You stabilize the body first. You have to look at your breath. I'm going to go back to one finger. You have to look at your breath, your posture, and your environment. These three things are huge in stabilizing you. Right? If you're in a war zone right now, it doesn't matter how much you breathe and what your posture is. Your environment is telling you you're not safe. You are not safe. You can breathe and you can keep yourself kind of like from losing your mind or from passing out or from like, you could keep yourself as in the driver's seat as possible. But at the end of the day, your environment is unsafe, right? So you can't hit regulation when you're in an unsafe environment. Coherence is the next level. So this is where you're aligning your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and you start to reduce the contradictions, the internal contradictions. So the internal contradictions is like, you've received information that says that, say, McDonald's is got so much human in it. And you still go and eat McDonald's because you just love your Big Mac. That's an internal contradiction. Because when you received the information that you received, your body registered it as a truth. And so your mind is sitting there going, but I'm going to tell myself it's not true. Your body knows. So there's a contradiction there, and you will feel that you'll be at war with yourself, but you won't maybe recognize it logically. Then we go to capacity. So the third part is capacity. So you want to expand what the system can hold without dysregulation. This is how you can handle more money. This is how you can handle more relationships. This is how you handle more responsibilities, is you have to allow your nervous system to expand so that it can handle the capacity of what's coming in. Then the next layer is the expression layer. So we use this system in real life. And it's about your voice, it's about creation, and it's about leadership at that point. And then level 5 is integration across all the layers. So this is where we're looking at the same gate, multiple expressions, and they're all in alignment. And that's what the Christic embodiment method is. I'm excited about it. So we're going to reframe a couple things, and then I got to hop off because this thing's sitting at 11% battery. I just realized it's not doing so well. And I actually put that picture up and I did not see that. Okay, we're cool. All right. So we'll do the distortions and then we'll get back together. My next day that I'm live is Saturday. That's when we do the Return to Center global meditation. So please do come and join. We'll do an energy check-in. We'll do the global meditation. If you want to do the Return to Center live run through with me, which would be 10 days back to back, that starts tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mountain. So you should sign up for it now. You can do that at the website. All right. So the distortions that we have, one of the distortion is more chakras equals more advanced. And that's not true, because often what ends up happening is that more fragmentation increases when you have really complex systems. And it's not, like I said, it's 50 gates. It doesn't matter. It's just as you evolve, it's kind of like peeling the onion, right? As you evolve, you reveal more and more underneath each layer. And it's the same thing as we go through our chakra systems, that we're peeling back one layer after another layer after another layer, or we're aligning another layer of that specific gate. It's that gate being across multiple layers. So the distortion, another distortion is you must activate higher layers first. That's not true. You should start with stability, and it begins in the body. And the body is what is attached to the present moment. That's what's the truth, right? So stick with your body in the present moment. And then the other distortion is that overpopulation causes collapse. The truth about this is that disconnection and artificial systems are what's going to cause collapse. And that's what we came here to work against, is the artificial systems, the transhumanism, all of that stuff. So Yeah, and it's cool because like I did this session, like the body is the gateway, nervous system stabilization, the spine as access, right? Like these are all different things that I've already, like all these different things that I was learning, and content that I've created or education that I put out there, you know, and even going into like my larger courses and stuff like that. And this just pulls it all together. And I love it when it does that. It makes me very happy. All right, I have fresh bread. I have fresh bread to go eat. And I have 10%, 9% battery life. Sorry, 9% battery life on this. So I'm going to hop off before it dies. I will see you guys on Saturday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 12 Eastern. It's like, what is the other time zone that I give? 10 Mountain, 12 Eastern. And if you're joining me in Return to Center, I will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mountain on Zoom, because that's how I'm doing that. And if I don't see you on Saturday, I hope I see you Sunday night. And on Sunday night, we'll check in with the celestial alignment and we'll see what energies we're working with for the week ahead, and also check in with the cards again and see what everything is going. Thank you for hanging out with me. Love you guys. Appreciate it so much, so much. All right. Have a great night. Bye, guys. I'm going to turn this guy off first because the TikTok one's